Hello, Karina here, coach and mentor for highly sensitive people and creator of the program Synchronize Your Life. Today is day 4 of the Feel Lighter in 21 Days experiment, and for today we are going to be talking about leaning in. So, welcome. Okay, day 4 of the experiment, leaning in. What does that mean? What does it mean to lean in? There are a few different ways that I'm going to talk about this topic today. Okay, but before I do, I want to share with you something from my childhood. Okay, so for as long as I can remember, for a very long time, I was scared of the dark. Okay, kind of typical, right? With my active imagination, there are many different things that could be hiding in my closet or under my bed or in the mirror. I don't know if you had any fears of mirrors as I did growing up, but yep, totally had fears of mirrors and what was behind the mirrors, possibly coming from other dimensions. But anyway, so I remember even throughout high school, okay, I was scared. I was scared of the dark, and I would clench my covers and hide under my covers, hoping that I could fall asleep before anything came out to get me. And I remember one time, I don't know, I was sometime in high school, I was definitely a teenager, and I kind of said to myself, all right, Karina, this is enough. This is ridiculous. You are still scared of monsters under your bed. You're still scared of the dark. Come on, okay, get yourself together. So what did I do? I remember in that moment, something shifted for me. I looked at this fear, okay, and what did I do? I got myself out of my covers. And I said, in my mind's eye, I said, internally, I said, all right, monsters, vampires, Bloody Mary, whoever is out there, come out. Come out right now, okay? Come into my room and show yourself. That's enough, okay? And in my mind's eye, I had my eyes closed, I pictured all of these monsters, demons, crazy beings from other dimensions start to come out of the closet, come out from under the bed, all like sad and sulky, like, oh, you got us, okay? And they all started to line up around my bed. And they were all there with their head hanging down, like, damn it, she's not scared of us anymore. That means we have to leave. And in that moment, I told all of them, I said, you guys can leave because this isn't happening anymore. Okay, me being scared of you, this is done, okay? You can go somewhere else. But I think I learned my lesson here. So that practice right there was a pivotal moment for me. It was the moment when I started to face my fears. And I remember, perhaps I did this because I do remember I had a lot of dreams growing up. I always have a lot of dreams. And maybe I read somewhere that in a dream, if something's chasing you, the best thing that you can do if you're able to become lucid is to literally turn and face that which is chasing you. Okay, because the faster you try to run, the slower it gets, right? The slower your dream is. And all of a sudden you feel like you're running in molasses and mud, and that thing is still gaining at you. It's still coming at you. Okay, same thing happens with our fears, with our beliefs, with the things that we worry about, with the things that give us anxiety. The more you try to run from it, the slower you're going to feel, the heavier you're going to feel. So this topic is number 4 of the Feel Lighter in 21 Days experiment, because when you give yourself permission to turn and look at what you fear, at what you are anxious about, and fully hold space for it, then something lifts. Something lifts, and you are able to move forward with greater ease and flow. Okay, and that thing does not have that pulling back motion on you, dragging you down. Okay, so that is how I want to introduce this topic of leaning in. Leaning in is all about looking at what you are avoiding, looking and allowing yourself to feel the feelings that you are pushing away. Okay, because somewhere along the lines you were taught it's not safe to feel, it's not safe to be you. So when you feel you're not safe, you create these judgments. And these judgments are the thing that makes you avoid, makes you push away, makes you look away. Okay, but I'm giving you permission in this experiment today to just see what happens. Just see what happens when you turn towards it. See what happens when you face it. Okay, and some of you might say, because I've talked about this topic with a lot of people, that Karina, but I feel my emotions every day. I feel the anxiety. No, you are feeling the after effect of avoidance. When you actually feel and face your anxiety or what you're feeling, something very interesting happens. This is something I learned in my master's degree in counseling. That which you are running from starts to dissolve. It starts to neutralize and it starts to dissipate. Okay, if you want it to shift, you have to feel it. Okay, so if you've done this before, for those of you who did not do it before, for you who've done it before, leave a comment below. Please share with me your experience with leaning in, with facing what you feel, and share with me, because I know we have some people here who are at different points in their journey. Some people still have a lot of fear of facing their feelings, facing their thoughts, facing even their physical ailments, right? Pains that we have in our body. So I know for me, one thing that I struggled with for a long time was skin issues, and they would come out in the form of eczema and acne. So, and it's very interesting because they always came in the same places. So the eczema always came on my shins, always on my legs. I never got eczema anywhere else. And there was a point, so it started in college, and I remember I was in college. I wasn't in a relationship that was bringing me forward in life. It was teaching me things, but I needed to learn lessons, and it was taking me a little while to do so. But I remember that's when it started. It started when I was not allowing myself to feel anger. I was shutting down my anger. I was shutting down my ability to react and to respond, because this was like at the pinnacle of my sensitivity without me being aware of it, where I was very good at tuning into what my boyfriend at the time needed, giving it to him, and not serving myself. So I'd really poor boundaries, and I would just give. Very Buddhist mentality, where I unconditionally loved and accepted this person, and he was just constantly receiving from me, and he was very open to receive. Okay, and me, I was not very open to receive. Maybe I was, but I didn't know how to ask for it. Okay, and I didn't know how to set a boundary and say, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And I do remember there were times where I asked to receive, I asked for the reciprocation, and I got a whole lot of crap for it. And then it made me feel guilty. Okay, so there was a little bit of control manipulation in that relationship, but this was here for me. This was not here to bring me down or to keep me stuck. This relationship was here to teach me such important lessons about who I am, feeling empowered, and setting boundaries. So I thank that relationship so much for all the lessons that I've learned from it. Okay, but the eczema is what came out of this relationship, and my awareness, or lack thereof, of, at the time, not letting myself feel anger. And so what would I do? I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd scratch, and I just would be so unconsciously scratching. I'd go to class and I'd be scratching. I'd go to cheerleading practice and I'd be scratching. And all of a sudden, I started getting these big, scaly welts all over my legs, to the point of like, oh crap, like this is not a mosquito bite. This is serious, okay? And this is more than dry skin. This is something. So thankfully at the time, I was starting to read certain things about like Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, and because I'm all about the mind-body connection, I wanted to see what physical ailment, what belief, what emotions are connected to this physical ailment. So at the time, that book did not really say what I needed it, what I gave me the full clarity of it. It says something about moving forward in your life, your legs about moving forward. Eczema is about like going against the grain of who you are. So yes, on the surface level, it told me something that I needed to become aware of. But anger was the emotion that was connected to that for me. And the fact that I was repressing and like avoiding expressing my anger and being like, dude, this is not okay. Like saying my life, like this is not okay. Something needs to change. The fact that I was avoiding that, my body had to express that feeling in some way. So for whatever reason, it chose to express it via eczema on my legs. Okay, and I only was able to really understand that and see that later on after doing a lot of deeper work to lean in, okay, to ask my body, what are you trying to tell me? What wisdom are you here to tell me? Okay, the next thing I want to share with you is emotion. Emotions, we can run from our emotions. Talked a little bit about anxiety and fear. Okay, and we can run from our emotions all day. And especially if you're not really someone who's yet accepted your sensitivity and you tend to be a feeler, then, feeling deeply, you might judge yourself. Okay, if you grew up in a house where feelings were not okay, maybe you grew up with thinkers, okay, and you're a feeler, you learn that feeling is not safe, it's not okay. And I don't know about you, but the way that I tried to cope with my feelings was to eat. Oh, so good, ice cream, cookies, Okay, so growing up, I was pretty thin, I didn't have the effects of weight show for me, but I had it in other forms, through my skin, through acne. Okay, but there was something happening here. I was avoiding these feelings. I was not looking at what it is that my body was trying to tell me. Okay, so obviously everyone, and I think that's where addiction comes in. Addiction to me is judging. Addictions happen because we judge our emotions. So if you have an addiction, ask yourself, what is your relationship with emotions and your emotional intelligence? Okay, do you give yourself permission to feel? And what do you do with those feelings? Where do you channel those feelings in creative ways? So whether it's eating, whether it is watching TV, going on social media, whether it is playing video games, whether it is smoking, drinking, okay, sex, there's so many different things that we can become addicted to, all so that we can avoid what we feel. So ask yourself, without shame, without judgment, because you've done enough of that, what am I not letting myself feel? Okay, and that's how you lean in. That's how you start to lean into your emotions. You just say, what am I feeling right now? Okay, and even just several months ago, I was so triggered by someone, and I was in a really good space. So it was really weird to be in a really good headspace and be triggered by someone, and then not really be like, oh my God, I don't know what this feeling is, but I'm getting a headache. I was starting to get a headache because I was trying to just push through it and be like, oh no, it's fine, it's fine. My best way of avoiding something is telling myself it's fine. So if you're telling yourself, oh, it's fine, just take a minute to actually be like, no, wait, what am I feeling right now? Okay, so I remember, I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm going to lean in. And this is where this practice really came in for me. So I sat in my chair, I took 3 deep breaths, and I asked myself, because I was feeling something, I just didn't know what feeling it was. Okay, so that's oftentimes what will happen. I just then asked myself, what am I feeling? And I just sat with that. And all of a sudden, in my mind's eye, okay, the word anger popped up. Anger? What? I'm not angry. Okay, Grina. Yes, you are. Okay, so I was like, all right, I'm not gonna, whatever. Angry. Maybe I am feeling angry. So I said anger. I imagined anger was in front of me, okay, as if I'm talking to a person. So I brought anger into my space, and I said, anger, why are you here? Okay, what do you have to tell me? Okay, and I started asking questions. Yesterday we talked about asking questions. Today, leaning in is often, asking questions is going to be a continuing, consistent thread through a lot of these practices. When you ask yourself the right questions, then you're able to open yourself up to a more expanded awareness. Okay, so asking myself, anger, what do you have to share with me? Okay, and then all of a sudden I started journaling, or actually no, I didn't even want to journal. I couldn't even journal. That's how intense this was. I literally just started talking to myself out loud, and then I was let myself be anger, and then all of a sudden I was just saying all these curse words and just reacting as if that person who triggered me was right in front of me, just blah, what's wrong with you? I was just I let myself just be so angry and be anger instead of be like, oh no, anger's over here and this is Karina. No, I said, anger, come here, we're gonna feel, okay, and then after that, being in that space of meditation, being in that space, after letting myself lean in and pass through that, on the other side, I had some really powerful clarity that I needed to set a boundary. Okay, this was an opportunity for me to say, this is not okay. Okay, and know what I need to say when a boundary needs to be set. So oftentimes anger comes in when you need to set a boundary. Okay, so if you want to learn a little bit more about setting boundaries, make sure you go back to day number 2 of this experiment. So that's emotional leaning in. Okay, then we have the last one, mental leaning in. Okay, and so the reason why a lot of us are starting to do meditation in our country, okay, or wherever you're listening to this from, is because so that we can become aware. Okay, meditation is the container that helps you become aware. And the more aware you are, the more power that you have, the more connected you will be to yourself. Okay, everything is awareness. When you don't have awareness, then you are putting yourself in a box. So in my meditations, I'd become aware of my thoughts. I would just watch my thoughts. Interesting, okay? Observing them, not judging them. Observing each thought as they went by. And then questioning them of, is this something that I really believe, or is this something that I really want to believe? And if not, I'm going to write that down, okay? And I'm going to look at that a little bit more. Okay, so leaning into your thoughts is becoming aware of them, writing them down, and then questioning them. Questioning your beliefs. Maybe that belief served you for a certain period of your life to keep you safe, but at this point, it's just keeping you stuck. It's keeping you stuck in the mud and really heavy. Okay, so give yourself permission to question your thoughts. Question what you believe, because we're always growing, we're always evolving, and you want to give yourself that opportunity to shift your beliefs as they need to. All right, so today's topic is all about leaning in. And the more you avoid leaning in, whether it's something physical, emotional, or mental, then the heavier you're going to feel. Okay, so that's why in this Feel Lighter experiment, I would like for you today to experiment with leaning into something. Okay, whether it's someone triggers you, leaning into what you feel. Okay, you don't necessarily have to respond and react and go back to them, but maybe take a step aside and just be with yourself. Sit for a minute, close your eyes, breathe, and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What is this feeling? And when you start to be able to acknowledge what that feeling is, our emotions are kind of like little kids. They just want to be acknowledged. And the more you try to push them away, the louder they're going to get and the more they're going to scream. Okay, so but the minute you turn to them and you just say, okay, hello, darling. Okay, what do I need? What do you need? Okay, what is it? What is it that you're trying to tell me? Then it will start to shift. Okay, this little kid will be acknowledged, really, because oftentimes that's really all kids want. They just want to be acknowledged, and then they'll go about their way. Okay, but no emotion's bad. So let's all take a nice deep breath. Let's breathe in. All right, so what are you going to lean into today? What is something that you've been avoiding? What is something you've been pushing away? Let yourself bring it forward. Hold space for it. Okay, and if you aren't able to do that for yourself yet, really connect with someone that you can trust that has maybe a little bit more awareness than you do, so they're not getting triggered, they're not going to take something personal. Someone who's really going to hold a safe space for you so that you can feel what it is that you need to feel, and maybe they'll help you acknowledge what you're feeling. Okay, maybe they can acknowledge what the belief is or what is connected to your physical pain that you're feeling. Okay, so that's today's experiment, is to lean in. Okay, see how you do with this. All right, and if you would like to jump on over to synchronizewithin.com, you will receive my free gift that I'm offering to you throughout this experiment training, and it is on how to create your vision and thrive as a highly sensitive person. Okay, you'll hear me say this at the end of my videos, but if you want to receive this audio, make sure you hop on over there and put your name and email into the box, and then make sure you confirm your subscription, otherwise you won't get it, okay, and you will get to have that audio. Alrighty, so let's see if there's any questions today. All right, wonderful. So I'm going to answer some questions in the comments, but thank you all so much for being here. I look forward to continuing the conversation with you and seeing how this experiment goes for you. Alrighty, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.